Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how we can choose our own thoughts, which might sound a little like, what do you mean I can choose my own thoughts, right? Because we can. We can choose our own thoughts, but not only can we choose our own thoughts, we can make the choice not to give our thoughts too much power over us. And in my last video, I talked to you about our inner critic and why we have one. So our inner critic is that voice that typically is there, or how it started, is to help us to avoid danger. But it can show up when we get nervous about something that we're not really in danger, right? I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and so a lot of building your own business is scary and makes you nervous. But our inner critic tries to convince us that this is dangerous and we shouldn't do it because, like we might die. I mean, it doesn't really tell us that, but that's the energy around it. If I do this thing, oh my gosh, everything's gonna, right? We catastrophize, and this is gonna be this big thing, and if this didn't work, and oh no, and everything's ruined, and now I need to, right? That's the inner critic. But when we learn, as I show you inside the mindfulness journey, when we learn how to work with our thoughts, to choose our own thoughts, we can choose to listen, to give power to some of these thoughts or to not, right? If I notice like I'm having the thought of, well, no one's going to buy my program, that's a thought. Thoughts are not facts. I don't have to give it much power. Because if I'm like, oh yeah, no one's going to buy it, so then there's no point in even bothering telling people about it or selling it or creating it. Who's going to want this? But I can choose to notice, oh, I'm nervous, right? Like this thought's showing up because this is scary, it's new, and I'm nervous, which is natural. Makes sense. But I don't need to let this thought of no one's going to buy my program I don't need to give it too much power. I don't need to because it's not necessarily a fact. So I don't need to let it stop me from doing what I want to do. And I'm saying here about launching a program, but it could be speaking in public. It could be talking to somebody, talking to my boss, talking to a coworker, right? It could be anything that voice shows up and tries to stop us from doing. Got a hair in my eye. So noticing, oh, I'm having this thought. This feels scary. This feels dangerous, but it's not. I can choose to not give it too much power, too much attention, and to do the thing that I want to do anyways. How do we do that? With mindfulness, right? Mindfulness brings us out of our heads and into this moment. So I'm noticing what thought I'm having, but I'm not going to give it too much attention. I'm going to shift back to this moment. So we do that by noticing thoughts and letting them pass by like leaves floating down a stream. We're not diving into the stream and picking up all the leaves and looking at them and, sorting them. We're sitting on the bank, just watching them pass. Because when we pick up those leaves and we engage with them actively, that can lead to ruminating because we're engaging with this thought of like, nobody wants to buy my program. Nobody wants to listen to my videos. Who's going to want to get advice from me? What do I know, right? Judgments, noticing them. If I latch onto them, well, then I'll just continue to have more, continue to go down that road of all the reasons why I'm not good enough, right? And you'll have the thoughts of why you're not good enough, why this, whatever. Whatever judgment is showing up, it'll just grow and build and build and build and build because you're feeding it by giving it more thoughts and more attention. And if I notice like, oh, I'm having this thought that like people are going to judge me. And some people will, but not everybody. And I like to remind myself that those who mind don't matter and those who matter don't mind, right? The ones who benefit from my teachings, they don't care. The ones who it's not for them, they might have more judgments and opinions, and that's fine. But I don't need to internalize it, and I can just let that float on past. And so, learning how to pay attention to our thoughts. I teach a lot of meditations. It's a mindfulness meditation company. And maybe your thought is, well, I can never meditate. That's a judgment. And is it true? Maybe you couldn't in the past, but not every meditation needs to be perfect. If you notice that you get distracted all the time in meditations, well, that's fine. Distractions happen. In my practices, I teach you that it's okay to get distracted. We don't want to stick and latch on to that distraction, shift out of it and come back. Because every time we notice that we're distracted, that's awareness, and that's what we're trying to grow in our practice. So I'm teaching a meditation, you're getting distracted, and you're like, oh, this is going for forever. Or why is it so silent? What is happening? Right? Those are thoughts and judgments. We notice like, oh, I'm getting distracted. We shift by coming back to our breath. And we do this in the meditations so that we can do it when we're speaking to somebody and a thought shows up like, well, that's dumb that you just said. And they're going to think you're an idiot, right? And you're like, oh, I'm having this thought. I can just let that leaf float on past. Simple in concept, harder to do in practice, I know. The more we practice, the easier it gets. By paying attention to our thoughts, we can choose, as I said, like we can choose our thoughts. We can choose, and by that I mean, just because I think something, it doesn't make it true, right? That's where the choice comes in. I don't have to believe it. Sometimes I have the thought like, that's stupid, something that like I'm thinking or saying. And then I might have the thought that I'm stupid, but I know that I'm not. And I don't have to believe that saying something stupid, which is a judgment, and maybe it wasn't stupid, but I don't have to believe that just because I said something stupid, that makes me stupid. I say this because before mindfulness, I used to think that. Like I used to worry that if I said something dumb, that everybody would think I was dumb, and then like that made me dumb, but it doesn't. Thoughts are just thoughts, they're not facts. I often thought that people would criticize me for things because I've been bullied in the past, but like I would thought that friends would do this to me, but they won't because they're my friends. But my inner critic, like I talked about in the last video, would try to convince me otherwise. And now I choose to notice what it's saying and to not give it power. And as I said, like one way of doing it is to start by noticing thoughts. To notice a thought as it shows up and to kind of look at it from a distance as much as you can. Starting the process of being with our thoughts like leaves or clouds floating past in the sky, going in one door and out another, right? Noticing the thought and letting it go and see what that's like, right? Inside my 7-day free challenge, we'll do a thought meditation together. You'll listen to me guiding you through it, noticing thoughts like leaves and seeing what that's like. It's a 7-day free challenge, how to be more mindful. I think it's called 7 days to a more mindful you. 7 days, 7 challenges, like practices, 10 minutes or less, right? Short and easy to get started into noticing, to being with our thoughts, which might bring up a lot of emotions because we're not used to being with our thoughts. So noticing my thoughts, noticing what it feels like to be with my thoughts. I'll put a link in the description to sign up for that challenge. You can subscribe to my challenge and go back and watch some of my other videos where I talk a bit more about this. Over the next several months, I'm going to be talking a lot about our thoughts and how to work with them. so that you can learn how to get out of your head and into your life. And this is one way. Notice by just noticing our thoughts is how we start. So sign up for that challenge below. Do the meditation. As I said, it's 7 days, but you can go back and listen to them over and over again. Meditate with me. I'm told my voice is very relaxing, which is great because we want to be more relaxed and calm, right? When some of these thoughts start to spiral, learn how to be with them inside of this challenge, how to start to feel more calm, more ease, and just learning how to be with our thoughts and not let them take over and kind of run the show. So you can sign up below. And until next time, take care and be well. Bye.